That might have been one of the most awful games Jared Goff ever played. He looked like straight garbage. He was that bad, okay? And remember, give props. When I come and giving props to Brian Flores, this, again, was the defensive coordinator, if I remember correctly, and coaching linebackers for the New England Patriots in 2018 when the Rams were held to like 3 points in the Super Bowl by the New England Patriots, because Brian Flores, that's what he was doing. He was dropping defensive linemen back in the coverage. He was blitzing from the outside, from your back seven. He was simply, they completely confused Jared Goff, and he looked as lost as I have ever seen him. 4 turnovers in the first half. He looked like a deer in headlights. He almost looked as bad as Ben DiNucci at times. I mean, it was that bad for Jared Goff, okay? And it made no sense that Sean McVay continued to have this man dropping back to pass in the first half. I think it was like 24 or 25 times when you consider the fact that they was averaging damn near 6 yards a carry rushing the football against Miami's defense. So I look at it and I say, my God, you got a 28-10 lead in the first half, and you got a grand total of 56 yards total in offense. Miami Dolphins didn't have to do anything offensively. They scored on defense. They scored on their special teams. Obviously, Tua threw a touchdown pass and deserves some credit for that. He fumbled when Donald and Brockers just collapsed on him in his first pass attempt. But other than that, okay, he didn't make any other turnovers. In the end, what it comes down to is he hasn't shown us much. And I'll tell you this, fair or unfair, Max, we're going to judge him according to what we see from Justin Herbert too. Because there was so much noise and coming into the draft. There was but I'm just saying, but Joe Burrow's number 1 overall, you know, and we understand that, even though if Tua had never gotten hurt, he might have been that guy. But we look at Joe Burrow, he's number 1 overall. But Justin Herbert was there for the Miami Dolphins to take, if I remember correctly. And guess what? They wanted to win. So I'm looking at it from the standpoint that when we see Justin Herbert fling this football the way that he's flung, and that's a different subject for another day, Ryan, because I got to tell you, I'm getting scared for Anthony Lynn. You can't have a quarterback looking the way that he's looking, and you have leads, and you keep losing those leads, and you're going to keep your job as that head coach. I'm getting very worried for Anthony Lynn. But I will tell you this. Tua is going to be judged because he's going to be compared to Herbert. Make no mistake about it. He didn't look that impressive to me. It's his first game. I'm not overreacting by any stretch of the imagination. I personally would have preferred to see Ryan Fitzpatrick still in there because of the way that he's been playing and the way Brian Flores has that defense playing. But the truth of the matter is, Tua did not look impressive at all. There was nothing good to take away from Tua in that performance. Nothing to excoriate him for, but there was nothing to brag about either.
To do anything in the playoffs with Fitzpatrick if you leave him in. And Fitzpatrick is just good enough to be dangerous to a franchise like Miami. That's why it took guts and foresight for them to say, yeah, you might be the better quarterback at the moment, but we still got to bench you. Like, it's the danger is that Fitzpatrick plays well enough to get you there because you ain't winning the Super Bowl with him. And, guys, we know that. And again, you guys are judging him X's and O's. Even look at Herbert, who's been outstanding. He's showing you why 2 years ago people were saying, hey, should teams tank for Herbert, right? And Joe Burrow, who's also been eye-opening, like, boy, these guys can play, right? Tua hasn't played in a long time. Tua's coming off of hip surgery. It's a completely different situation. Yes, Stephen A., you're absolutely right. He will be compared to those guys, both Burrow and especially Herbert, maybe because he could have been had a little bit later on. But this is his first NFL action and first football action in forever. Well, you've got to give him 3 or 4 games to get it.
I agree with that, Max.
Hold on, Ryan.
But how are you impressed, though?
Hold on.
Because the number one thing that I wanted to see, and I think it's the reason they started him against the Rams, was how would he respond to it? When you get done like that.
Do you remember the first time you saw him, Max?
What's that?
The first time we saw Tua Tagovailoa, he replaces Jalen Hurts. He throws an interception in the second half of the Georgia-Alabama National Championship. A freshman who hadn't played, who hadn't started, walks to the sideline, puts his arm around the greatest coach in college football history, and is like, it's all right, coach. I got you. No. We knew he had that stuff. Right now, it's about that physical stuff. It's about, are you healed? Can you move? Do you have that NFL stuff from a physicality standpoint? Go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry, bro.
And we didn't ask, Max, we didn't ask for you to resemble Dear Abby and wrap your proverbial arms around Tua and say, it's going to be okay. You'll be fine in 2 or 3 weeks. We're only talking about yesterday. And yesterday, Max, let me throw this at you, okay? Let me just throw this at you. You got the Rams. They had 31 first downs. Miami, 8. The Rams had 131 yards rushing. Miami, 55. The Rams had 471 yards total. The Dolphins had 145. 340 net passing yards. The Rams had 90. You can make a legitimate argument that yesterday, all right, no big deal. Next week, the week after, that'll be fine. But yesterday's game, the offense for the Miami Dolphins literally did nothing. Nothing.
Yeah. Well, no, he threw the touchdown pass that I referred to, and he didn't turn the ball over. He didn't throw an interception, by the way. But when you say, oh, dear Abby, in a full contact sport, Stephen A., and you know this, covering football now as long as you have in this show, and obviously you're a big boxing fan, you've been around the game, in a full contact violent sport, stuff like you are facing Aaron Donald, you're a rookie, you're coming off surgery, you get body slammed and strip sacked the first time you touch the ball. How do you respond? Like, I understand in college, that's one thing. But how do you respond as a pro is very important. And I thought that's why they were going to start him against the Rams. I didn't expect him to put up big numbers. I thought they wanted to see how he would respond. His team won. His team won the game.
And all I'm saying is 2-3 weeks from now, come to me with that. But yesterday, no. He survived. He lived.
He won.
He walked off the field.
Fair enough.
He's going to be there next week. Congratulations.
He didn't do too much.
But let's not act like he
week.
did that. Come on now. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.